Hello, welcome to this session. I appreciate this is the last session of the day and we're all that stands between you and the networking drinks. But well done for making it this far, and we've got a really great session lined up to help you understand how Amazon Connect can deliver personalized customer experiences for your contact center. So my name's Wes Neary. I'm a solutions architect in the UK and Ireland public sector team, and I'm going to give a quick introduction to Amazon Connect. Then I'll be handing over to my fellow SA, Guy, who's going to show you a really cool live demo. There's a saying in tech about never doing a live demo, but we're going to. And then we'll hand over to Peter Clark from Capita, who's going to give you his story and their organization's story about their experiences with Amazon Connect. So it's important, and we always work backwards at Amazon. So it's always good to start with what are some of the common challenges with traditional contact centers, and understand, this will help you understand where Amazon Connect is different. So first of all, lots and lots of contact centers are really struggling to deal with rising levels of demand, whether that's through physical location closures or just more and more people, demographics changing, more and more people being comfortable dealing with that way than in-person transactions. Upcoming refreshes. Again, hardware has a shelf life. In traditional contact centers, some of that hardware can be very expensive. And we're getting lots of customers telling us they've got some fairly major and costly refreshes coming up. Unsuitable licensing models. So contact by its very nature is a very peak and trophy workload. Yet traditional contact centers license it on either a per agent or a per line basis. And what that means in reality is that a lot of the time you're wasting money on capacity that you don't need to deal with that peak workflow when you do need it. Traditional contact centers are quite often tied to physical locations, whether that's through physical telephony cabling, which again is fine if you've got a stagnant workload, but contact isn't that way. And so if you want to scale that, you have to build bigger facilities. Lack of interfaces and integrations. Again, traditional contact centers aren't the most open things in the world, and it can make it really difficult to fully integrate that with your on-premise systems. And slow development cycles. So again, traditional contact centers are generally on a 6-monthly, a yearly release, which means you've got to wait that time before you can deliver changes or value to your customer. So, at Amazon, we strive to be Earth's most customer-centric company. And to do this, we obviously support millions of customers in dozens of languages across 32 countries. And at peak times, we can have over 70,000 customer service agents supporting Amazon. So this is quite a large scale and quite a large challenge. And being honest, we looked around and we couldn't really find a contact center solution that could meet this scale. So, in true Amazon fashion, we built one. So Amazon Connect is the contact center solution that was originally designed and born to enable Amazon to deliver an exceptional level of customer service. It includes all the standard functionality you would expect in a traditional contact center. So skills-based routing allows you to maximize the efficiency of agents. Calls are recorded in high quality, making it easier to improve and monitor agent performance. You can get real-time and historical analytics on the platform. And you get a high-quality voice capability that comes as standard. So all of that, most traditional contact centers can do that. So let's look at some of the differentiators for Amazon Connect. So firstly, setting up Amazon Connect is easy. With a few clicks in a console, your agents can begin taking calls. It is possible to do it within about 5 minutes. I won't say you'll have a fully functioning contact center in 5 minutes, but you will have the ability to take a phone call and pass it to an agent. The other thing about Connect is it can be managed by business users, your contact center supervisors. You don't need people with highly technical, highly specialized skills to manage it. Using natural contact flows, you can drag and drop the elements within the editor, which allows you to really change as your customers change. We're not talking months to change IVR flows anymore. Amazon Connect provides open interfaces that makes it easy and straightforward to interface with your back-end systems, third-party products, and AWS services. This allows you to provide a richer depth of capabilities and ultimately a better customer service. And Amazon Connect can leverage the full ecosystem of AWS technology and consultancy partners to help you deliver this. So we'll now just do a quick example of what one of these natural contact flows might look like. Hopefully the audio works.
Hi, Mickey Wolf. I see your flight was canceled today. How can I help you?
Can you please rebook me for the same flight tomorrow?
Okay, you are now booked for a 9 a.m. departure tomorrow out of San Francisco, arriving in Seattle at 11:45 a.m.
Great, thank you.
So what you saw there is a potentially normal customer interaction, but actually there's no agent involved in that, and a resolution has been found to the customer. But let's unpack how that actually worked and what actually happened there. So we had Amazon Connect there, and we had a contact flow that was handling that communication. We then used AWS Lambda as a to interface with our CRM. That allowed us to use the calling line ID to identify the customer. From there, we were able to look into our flight booking database and understand why that customer may be calling. Have they got a flight that's cancelled? Have they got an upcoming flight? And we could also use the same flow to interface with our business intelligence tools. So that's fine for an automated response, but sometimes an automated response or your default patterns won't solve. So what we look to do here with Connect is really provide a consistent user experience. So our same customer, Nikki, has rung back and said, well, since I was inconvenienced, can I get an upgrade for my flight? The Lex bot that's powering that chat engine hasn't been able to deal with that, so it's passing it over to an agent. But what's important is when we're doing that, the agent is actually given the history and the information there. This means they're not looking into another system to understand what's happened with that call. It's a natural flow and a consistent customer experience. So agent experience is also vital, and often within contact centers, the really lost thing that people often forget about. It's just as important to give your agents a really good experience, because this ultimately is what empowers them and enables them to deliver a good customer experience. With Amazon Connect, it's simple to integrate the contact control panel you see up on the right-hand side of the screen there into other applications, whether that's your CRM or whether it's a web portal that agents use. So as an example here, on the left is a screenshot of the customer control panel using the Salesforce Precan CTI adapter. This allows the control panel, which is where the agents make and receive calls from, to be embedded into a single window, meaning they have single pane access to all the relevant data that they require for the call. If you're a Salesforce user within your organizations already, the adapter's available, it's available for free and is constantly being updated as new integrations and new features are released. This goes down really well with agents. The fact they can do everything they need to do in one window is a real game changer. So we talked about an open platform and easy integrations. And there's a number of elements that do that. But again, AWS Lambda, our event-driven compute service, is really the glue that allows you to stitch them together. So for example, we can take your call recordings are recorded into an S3 bucket. This highly available, highly durable storage means that actually you don't need to worry about scaling and replicating them call records. Lifecycle management allow you to easily manage them and delete them as per your regulatory requirements when they're no longer needed. But also it allows you to start using the breadth of other AWS services to actually start analyzing that data. The agent data itself can be available through the Connect console, but can also easily be passed into workforce management systems to allow you to optimize your workforce. Call metrics, again, are stored, but again, these can easily be passed into your data warehouse, whether that's an AWS service or an on-premise existing data warehouse. So just to sort of really talk about this, and this is applicable to all AWS services. When you consume them, you're not just getting a service, you're getting the power of the AWS ecosystem. So at Amazon, we have a saying that security is ob zero. So you can use our identity and access management service to control access to the administration of the platform. You can use the AWS directory service or any SAML compatible IDP to authenticate users and agents to the platform. As we've said, you store call recordings in S3. If you have a long-term compliance requirement to keep them, you can make use of cheaper storage through S3 Glacier. You can use Lambda, step functions, or API gateway to provide custom integrations with other systems. You can make use of our database platforms to store that data as it comes out, whether that's the agent contact data or call metric data. You can use CloudWatch and CloudTrail to monitor the performance and provide audits of activity. If you have a regulatory requirement, that's how you can achieve it. You can start to use some of our messaging services to allow you to interface with other applications if there isn't a native integration. And because we're storing most of our call data in S3, we can then start to leverage some of our democratized AI and ML services, whether that's Lex, Poly, Transcribe, Comprehend. And you can perform some real big data analytics once you collect that data set using our analytics services. So just to pick out on one of them, we talked about improving contact centers with artificial intelligence. When Guy comes up on stage, you'll see us using a call into Connect. We'll then be using Lex, our natural language understanding service, to build a chatbot to handle that call. Once we've recorded the call, we'll pass it into Amazon Transcribe, which will allow us to create a near real-time transcription of the text, which would be pretty awesome. I think a lot of customers we speak to already would be like, if we can just save the agents typing there, that's a huge saving in itself. But we can take it further. We can then start to use services like Amazon Comprehend to do sentiment analysis on that transcript. And then, as Guy will show you, you can apply machine learning and analytics on top to really start maximizing the value of that data. So it's no longer just data you're holding, it's now useful and providing a business value to you. So just quickly to wrap up for this section, we talked about the entire AWS ecosystem. So there's an ever-growing number of Connect technology partners providing integrations into the platform. You can see there, we talked about Salesforce, but Verin and NICE have integrations that are available. And if you need some help with this, there's again an ever-growing number of Connect consulting partners that can provide the skills and resources you require to help you on your journey with this. So actually, pictures and demos paint 1,000 words, and no one really wants to listen to me talking anymore. So I take this opportunity to welcome Guy to the stage, who's going to take you through a live demo of Connect.
Thank you very much. Okay. Sound is good. Can you hear me? Perfect. Great. Thank you very much for being here. My name is Guy Ben Baruch. I'm a solution architect in AWS. I work with customers from the media, entertainment, and telecom verticals. So basically today, what we're going to do, we're going to do a live demo. So we need to pray for the gods of demos that it will work, and it will work. So basically what we did, we had a thought about how we can actually integrate AI and machine learning services in order to expand the capabilities of the Amazon Connect and to show you a little bit of the different integration and capabilities and how you can actually enhance the experience of your customers and how you can actually enable your agents. So what we actually did here, the first thing which I'm going to demonstrate is basically real-time speech analytics, which automatically grades every call. So you're going to see live calls that we're going to do. I have here my colleague in the room is going to do a couple of calls, and you're going to see the dashboard that we've built, the UI. We're going to see how the agent can actually see in real time an understanding of the sentiment analysis, either if it's a positive sentiment, if it's a negative, if it's a natural one, and you can also see how we can actually accumulate that so the agent can understand in real time whether there is any risk during the call, either it's a very negative call and you can maybe transition the call into an expert queue, for example, to look at that call. So that this is part of the things which we are going to cover today. The second part basically is instant indication, as I mentioned before. So we have the customer sentiment and we have the accumulation. We are going to go through it during the demo. And the last part is basically we are going to leverage the customer data to personalize the customer experience. So basically what we are going to do in the demo, we are going to route the call. So my colleague will make a phone call to the Amazon Connect call center, and we are going to determine according to churn prediction. So we have built in the background a model using Amazon SageMaker to better understand if the customer that is calling is going to likely whether to churn or not. So we actually trained a model in the background. We used around 7,000 different customers. So we based it upon how many calls the customer has done, how many minutes overnight, does he have any voicemail plan, international plan. So we took all those parameters and we actually trained the model with SageMaker and we expose an endpoint. So what you can actually see is that we can route the calls before the agent even picks up the phone, whether it's to an expert queue, if we think that the model predicts that the customer is likely to churn, or a regular standard agent queue if it looks like the customer is not going to churn. So that's just an example of showing you how we can actually use machine learning in the background. Right, so before I go to the solution architecture, because it's better to show it after the demo, let's move on to the demo part. Perfect. So just a couple of sentences around that. So this is basically the UI, the dashboard of the agent. This is what we've built. You can see here on the left side, we have the Amazon Connect. So that's like a standard panel. Once there will be an incoming call, the agent can pick up the call. You have also the part for the call transcript. This is where you can see live transcription. So this is basically using, I will show it afterwards also in the architecture. This is the live transcription of the customer calling in. And then you can see the current sentiment. You can see here the gauge turning between red and green. This is according to the sentiment analysis, whether it's a negative sentiment, whether it's a positive or a natural one. And on the right side, you can see the call attributes. So we store the data from the customer, as I mentioned before, either if it's voicemail plan, international call, how many times actually the customer has called previously to a call center. So we can take this data and present it to the agent, as well as we can present the churn decision to the agent. So immediately when the agent is actually picking up the call, he can immediately get this data to his dashboard, including whether this customer is about to churn or not. So that's basically the UI. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to make a call. So my colleague is going to call the call center. So it's simulating a customer, is calling the call center. He has an issue, a specific issue, whether it's Wi-Fi or phone or anything like that. And I'm going to pick up the call as the agent, and we're going to just do a basic, short, quick discussion. So I want you to see how it actually looks. Yeah. So once the incoming call will reach to the Amazon Connect, you can see here actually the inbound call. And I'm just going to pick up the call.
General queue.
You can see it's connecting. I'm just going to put myself on mute. So I just muted myself. And then actually,
good afternoon.
We can actually start the discussion. Perfect. Good afternoon.
I have a problem with my Wi-Fi. I can't connect any device.
Okay. We can definitely try and help you with that. Okay. Which kind of device do you have?
Can you please restart my router?
Yes. What I'm going to do right now, I'm going to restart the router. Let me know if that helps.
Thank you very much. That is great.
Yeah, we restarted it. Perfect. Glad we could help you.
That was very helpful.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Perfect. Right, so that was actually just a short call for you to see how it's actually working. So again, we have the live transcription where you can see the call transcript. That's actually using the Amazon Transcribe real-time API, and you can see the actual sentence, and you can also see the either if it's what is the level of confidence, either if it was positive. So of course, thank you very much. This is great. It's very high, 99% confidence that it's positive. And what we did on the right side, you can actually see the accumulated sentiment, right? So we actually accumulate different sentiments and we aggregate that, so then the agent can understand, what is the overall sentiments during the discussion, and then it can make decisions whether you move to the red side, and then you can pass it to an expert or a supervisor and so forth. What is interesting that on the right side, you can actually see the call attributes. Those are actually coming from the DynamoDB. So this is the data coming in for that specific customer. So you can see different parameters like international plan or voicemail plan, but basically you can use whatever data your customer is providing. So for example, we have customers that we work with them on the quality of Wi-Fi in their house. So you can have like Wi-Fi signaling, quality of service, or whatever data you would like to use. And you can also see here the part for the churn prediction, not likely. So that's exactly what happened once the call went through. It actually, we had a Lambda function which got the data from DynamoDB and send it over to a SageMaker endpoint. And this is actually the results, which is not likely. So that's the reason why the call actually been routed to a standard agent. What we're going to do right now, we are basically going to do a call. My colleague is going to call now from a different number. So this number, basically, we have data around this number that is actually a customer that is likely to churn. So we're going to see how it actually looks. In the background, the Lambda function will inquire with the data coming from DynamoDB, the SageMaker endpoint, and we will see how it actually routes directly to an expert queue. So here is my inbound call. As an agent, I'm just going to pick up the call.
Expert queue.
You can see the call is connecting. I'm going to put myself on mute. And here is the call. First of all, you can see that on the right side, if you look on the call attributes, you can see churn likely. This is coming from the SageMaker endpoint.
I have a problem with my phone. I cannot make any outbound calls.
Okay, let's see if we can help you with that.
Can you please check my account?
Yes, let me take a look in your account.
Thank you very much.
Perfect.
That is great. I'm very happy for that.
Yes, I see there is an issue there, and I will be happy to help you.
That is brilliant.
Excellent.
Have a nice day.
Perfect. Right, so again, you saw the real-time sentiment analysis and the gauge turning with the accumulated score. And again, we have two queues. One is the regular agent, the other one is the expert, and we just immediately routed before the call actually started to the expert queue because we suspected that this customer is actually going to churn according to the model we have in our SageMaker, Amazon SageMaker endpoint. Perfect. So let's look a little bit on the architecture. So on the left side, you can see the customer actually doing the inbound call, which goes all the way to the Amazon Connect instance on AWS. So the first part is actually the authentication part. So the Lambda function goes and authenticates the customer. It goes into an Amazon DynamoDB, verifies and authenticates the customer, and gets back the data, right? So we mentioned different data, international plan, voicemail plan, how many calls, nightly calls, and so forth. The data comes back into a Lambda function, and the Lambda function actually sends this data over with an API call to the churn prediction endpoint, which we've built with Amazon SageMaker. And Amazon SageMaker bring back the result, either if it's likely to churn or not. So when the Lambda function brings back the result to the Amazon Connect, then you can decide how you want to route the call to which queue. And that's actually what we are doing prior to the second the agent is actually picking up the phone in those different queues. The next part is basically the customer audio streaming, which goes out from Amazon Connect through a Kinesis video stream. So we actually stream the audio which is coming from the Amazon Connect instance all the way to a Lambda function again. And then Lambda function does two things. The first part, which you saw on the screen as well, is the real-time API. So we do the transcription, the live transcription that if you've seen. And the second part is basically the sentiment analysis using Amazon Comprehend, right? So both of them are being done via a Lambda function, and those are actually API services. So we just trigger the API, and we're getting the result, and we visualize them. And that's what you can see here. We've actually built an agent web application. So we have the AWS AppSync. So it's in real-time updates the dashboard. So when you have a real-time sentiment coming over and updates, and actually updating the UI, you have the Amazon DynamoDB Lambda function. We use Cognito, Amazon Cognito, to authenticate the agents who are actually logging into our call center. So we are doing it with Cognito. And in the end of the day, you have the agent console, and then you have the contact center agents. So just in a nutshell about what we're seeing next and what we are seeing in the industry, and we work with customers. So then you can take it to, for example, predictive maintenance. So you can have your using machine learning in the background to understand better about your customers' issue, maybe predict even issues that your customers have or will have, and you can proactively contact your customers and give them a call and tell them, hey, well, you might have an issue next week maybe with your Wi-Fi, or we suspect that you might have an upcoming issue with your cell phone, so we might help you with that. Personalization, right? So we can route customers to VIP queues We can give them a personalized experience about their issues, as we already know, from the history, different issues that they face, so we can try and help them with that. And of course, we can also look on virtualize virtual assistants like Amazon Lex. So essentially, we can have, rather than a real agent, we can have a virtual assistant, and we can have the same integration with machine learning and AI in the background, and this virtual assistant can actually leverage that integration of the AI/ML stack. Right, so thank you for that. I'm gonna pass on the mic to Peter Clark from Capita Customer Management. He's gonna talk about their case study. Thank you.
Hello everybody. I'm very conscious I'm between you and the beer, so I will not take too long. So I'm Peter Clark. I work for Capita Customer Management. We're the element part of Capita that runs the contact centers. We run 20,000 agents across Europe, India and South Africa. We have about 100 million conversations with our customers annually, and we work across multiple sectors: financial services, utilities, automotive and retail. We have large clients. O2 is probably one of our biggest ones, British Gas, Volkswagen, obviously National Trust and Deutsche Telekom. So we have a diverse array of clients, and we have multiple sectors across multiple geographies. So why did we look at Connect? So our current landscape, as probably many of you in this room, we have lots of telephony. We use client telephony in some cases, and we have our own telephony. We have a large Avaya estate, multi-tenanted, on-premise hardware. As was already been mentioned by Wes and Guy, it's on a per-seat licensing model. There's been quite a lot of upfront investment to get to this point, and there's also continuous investment maintaining such like PCI and upgrades. So that is driving high setup costs, probably comparable to other businesses and other sectors, but it is inherently a high capex. It's very voice-centric, obviously, Avaya. You've got some elements of natural language, you've got IVR, but it is quite limited to the voice channel. You can do home working, but again, there's elements that's limited, and there's a considerable amount of ongoing support. That's not just, there's ongoing support to maintain the platform and the infrastructure, but also all the upgrades that are necessary to keep a platform like that ongoing. So we started speaking to Amazon last year. Connect was actually released in March 2017, but we started to look at it very seriously last year. And we decided that probably the best thing to do was to pilot it, was to look at a client, relatively small client, but look at a client that was self-contained in one office that we could look at migrating from our Avaya platform into Connect. So not dissimilar to what you've, try that way, right. Not dissimilar to what you've already seen. What we needed to do was we couldn't just move to Connect, we needed to put Connect into our current landscape. So that meant we had to integrate it into lots of existing systems. So as it's already been discussed, agents now connect via a soft phone on the control panel, the contact control panel. We do record all, as already been discussed, we record all our calls. They go into S3, and we have made starts using transcribe and comprehend. And as already discussed, transcribe will turn your voice to text, and comprehend will then do sentiment analysis and reason for call. I mean, one observation I would make on that, and it was brought up on another session, is you do need to train transcribe and comprehend. You need to give it the context of the calls. It has a vocabulary, but you need to extend that vocabulary to the nature of the calls. We have a workforce management platform, that Aspect. It's not the latest version, So there is a quick start for Aspect, but we couldn't use that. So what we decided to do was feed plan data from Aspect into Connect through a Kinesis stream into a DynamoDB. We then compare that plan data with actual that comes out of the Connect, and that's the Connect trace stream and the agent stream, and we then demonstrate that to the team leaders through a real-time adherence screen. So we've built our own real-time adherence screen using CloudFront in AWS, and that provides our team leaders and our managers real-time information about who is taking calls, who should be in, who isn't in, who's on a break but shouldn't be on a break, and such like. As already been discussed, we've also plugged Connect into our business objects data warehouse. Day-to-day, we use the Connect dashboard to give us the flexibility and the ability to move our agents around and move call flows, but we also push that data into business objects so we can do monthly reports. We use Connect for authorization. So the Connect IAM enables us to define agents, team leaders, and such like, but we actually get the users to log in via AD. So they use a standard username and standard passwords to log into AD, and that then authorizes them to use the correct facilities. One really good feature amongst many of the Connect is the ability, you've got Cloud Watch and Cloud Formation. So Cloud, what we've been able to do is we've built a test environment and a production environment, which is, we didn't have one of them before. We had production, we didn't have tests. So we now have a test environment and a production environment, and we use Cloud Formation to move the test to the production environment. You can't move all the Connect call flows yet, but you can extract them and then move them into production. That's been very powerful because as we'll start to move into the AI area, into the app space and into the self-service space, having a test environment is going to be critical to being able to develop those new functionalities. And we've also take payments. So we have a PCI gateway. So we push calls to that PCI gateway. But what you can also do is you can take calls in the Connect IVR. So you can push a call into the IVR from the agent. You can then take the credit card number, the expiry date, the CSV, into the IVR, that gets encrypted, and you then can pass that to a payment gateway. So you can do it in the Connect API, you can do it in the Connect IVR, or you can do it in an external provider. What we're then doing, so what that's done is build us a contact center solution. So on the right, the Capita contact solution, this is now a repeatable architecture that we are now live with. We have running in an account, taking calls on it, and we can now move that repeatable infrastructure to multiple clients. And we can move that, because this is all in the cloud, all via software as a service, we can now move that across from multiple accounts. What we're now looking at is the more interesting part. So this is what we're working with our client. We're now looking at the more interesting aspects of integrating into our client's CRM, into their business objects, into their business warehouse, and also to drive self-service. So this is where Connect really starts to deliver the power and the flexibility. And using Lambda and other capabilities, we are now driving interactive IVRs, and we can now drive self-service. So this is really where Connect starts delivering its power. And this is really where you've got the access to the wider ecosystem of AWS. Connect, at the end of the day, it's great. It allows you to replace a legacy telephony platform with another cloud-based telephony platform, but it's the connectivity to the whole of the AWS ecosystem that gives you the power. So, what benefits have we delivered? My screen's gone off, unfortunately, but there we go. So we're delivering this into the Kingfisher Group for our Trade UK account. We did, as I said first, we did a short pilot. So we got the pilot up and running in 6 weeks. Now, it could have been quicker. That 6 weeks was more down to operational timescales and our ability to move rather than connect. We then spent 20 weeks building the architecture I've just gone through. So that did take a bit of time to do it, but we've now got a repeatable architecture. What we are observing, if you compare like for like, we are observing about a 30% reduction in OPEX. Now that is because Connect is per minute, per call. That will obviously be dependent on how many calls and how many minutes you use, but we are observing a 30% improvement. Now, picking up on a point that's already been made, it's quite key that our agents feel better for using this, not just our customers, and we are getting a better performance from our agents and user experience. And what we are also being able to do is customize reporting. So in Connect, in the dashboard, you can customize reporting for what you want. You can have standard reports, you can customize reports, you can report on things like percentage call answers in 20 seconds, 60 seconds and so forth. And that is all through a browser interface. Right, so what are we doing looking forward? And I think actually the demo that we've just had really highlights that. Where we are now looking, we've now got a repeatable architecture that we can deploy into our business. And so we are now looking at moving this across other clients. We have another implementation within our government services business that will go live in May. And also our local government services business are also using the Lex capability to drive self-service on front of our Avaya. So where we can't move to Connect per se, we're still using Lex and the self-service capabilities that delivers in front of our Avaya platform. We are also looking at some more of the aspects that we've just seen around real-time voice analytics. I think being able to help the agent through a call with next best action will be really powerful, and also about personalising the experience for the customers. So we're very much looking at voice bots. So we're working on some voice bots. So this isn't just IVRs and ID&V. This is true self-service capability within a voice bot that enables the customers to self-serve. But importantly, if they can't self-serve or need to talk to an advisor, we will then hand that customer over to an advisor, but the advisor will have the whole context of the conversation that you've had today. It's absolutely key that if we're going to hand a customer over to an advisor that's been in a voice bot, that they understand the context of that conversation. And that's where we can use comprehend and transcribe to make sure that we bring out the important elements of what's being discussed. We're also working with a partner, Mission Labs, with their Smart Agent tool to look at chatbots. So not only can we then manage voice within the Connect platform, we can then start having chatbots on mobile devices, Facebook Messenger and the website, and that can then be automated through self-service or pushed to an advisor as required. So what's happened is by spending a bit of effort and a bit of work, a few months worth of effort, we've now got a repeatable platform on and which we can grow on and hopefully deliver a lot more personalisation for customers and a better experience. So I think that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Peter. Thanks. That's a really good story. And to all of you, I just want to say thank you. I hope you had an awesome day. Please do complete the session survey. It may not be live for a few minutes till after we've finished, but please do complete that. The reason is that's what allows us to see what's worked, what hasn't, what's valuable, what's not, iterate and make this better for the future. But thank you again.